Tell you, man, using a sleeping bag as a sleeping bag in a hammock is a little rough. You're supposed to use it like they call it a top quilt. It's just like a big blanket. When you have that underquilt, which is something like a little sleeping bag that hangs underneath of your hammock, kind of give you the insulation, stop the wind, stop that cooling effect. You just get in and then adjust the top quilt any way you want, and that's very comfortable, very easy. But not having that option, sort of like a caterpillar, and you're kind of wiggling around and trying to get this thing zipped up, and it compresses on the bottom, and that's why you lose that insulation. In a tent, normally you'd have the mat or something below you, so you don't get robbed of heat. But it helped, definitely. I've done this. I've never done a full night yet. Did it twice without the underquilt, with my sleeping bag as a top quilt, and it just got cold. And it was only like 60 degrees, 55 degrees or something like that. But it was blowing, the wind was blowing. Did that thing again. Anyway, let me show you what I got here. Outside my hammock here. You can see my pot. You can see, sorry for the bad angle, let me try to do that again. Sorry about that. So in the red Nalgene bottle, that's my water. Next up is a little Walmart pot. I haven't been to Walmart in like, I don't know, 5 years. It's been ridiculously long. I don't like them, but in the last week or two before preparing for this little trip, I went there a bunch. I have gift cards people gave me a long time ago. I never used them, and I figured I'd just buy all this little stuff real cheap. Anyway, it's actually called a grease pot, where you guys store grease in it. Anyway, it's like solid aluminum, perfect. Fits all my stuff inside. It was $6 at Walmart. The next is a tin foil. It's like I wrapped it about, or folded about 5 or 6 times, and that's going to act as a windscreen. And then next to it, you can see my soda can burner. And together that would make a stove kind of thing. Actually, I guess it was a stove by itself. And then over here in the Ziplocs, you can see them. There's 2 jugs, or 2 little bottles. And I've got fuel in there, and I'm using it's a yellow bottle of heat. And I think it does something to your antifreeze. I don't know, it keeps it whatever, not frozen. And it burns like alcohol. I don't know what the contents are, but people online use that. And then you can see my spoon, hopefully. And then you can also see the food I'm going to make. And that's actually beef stew this morning. I had some sweet and sour pork last night, which was actually delicious. Before coming on the trip, I bought a couple different kinds from different manufacturers and tried them, the same kind from different manufacturers. And that was very smart for me, because it was a vast difference, amazingly enough. I think it's Hiker's Pantry or Camper's Pantry or something like that. That was disgusting. And this place is called Mountain House. It's okay. It's not bad. But the sweet and sour pork I had last night was good. Could be because I was just hungry and camping. I wasn't able to get what I wanted anywhere else. But I need to start journaling that if I'm going to be eating these things. I don't want to be. I actually want to start dehydrating stuff, because that's what a lot of people do online. You get to know what it's going to taste like and do that. And let me talk at you a little bit about I made 2 stoves. This is the second of 2. The first one was a wood gas stove, which basically doesn't require fuel. You just bring it out here, you put wood in it. You would light it up like a little campfire. You continue to feed it after a while, but it heats up the wood, and the wood itself has gas that would be expelled, and then the gas itself burns pretty cleanly. And you get a lot of energy out of the wood doing it that way, instead of just the raw burn. And I made that out of like soup cans and stuff. And it's bulky. It's pretty bulky, and it does create a lot of soot. And this was the other one I wanted to explore. This is made out of 1 soda can, which was awesome. A lot of the ones I've seen made out of a bunch of them, or 2 or 3 or whatever. You can make them out of any kind of can. I just had a soda can. Somebody else. Actually, I think I can't remember if this was from somebody else or I drank it or whatever. I know I drank one of the two that I was going to use to make two of these. And you basically use a razor blade. You use clamps to hold that razor blade to some spacers. And the top of the can, which is from here up to this, is a little bit longer than the bottom of the can inside. And there's actually a wall. The rest of the can you cut to a certain size. I think it's about the same height as the bottom of the can, which then makes the top of the can not cinch down completely or not crush the bottom. And then you drill all these little ports. And from what I understand, the smaller the ports, the better the flame, or in the sense of better use of the fuel, because this takes probably half a can of fuel to cook, to boil 2 cups of water, which is what I need. So I bought the small drill bit for my Dremel. It's like 1/64. It's like tiny, but I didn't have a coupling or a collar that actually could bite down on that, so I had to go up a couple. And they're talking about the flaming up last night. Did you know that? Did you see it flame up last night? Yeah, I did too, man. I smelled it and I opened up. I was like, "Don't tell me the woods is on fire." I thought the wood might have been caught. Hey, we had a visitor to camp last night too. What? It was a solo. I don't know what it was. I thought it was closer than it was, but when I moved to look at it, it didn't run away. But when I was listening to it, I didn't have my glasses on, but it was close. What was it? I have no idea. I thought it was a deer at first, but it wasn't like coyotes. It was bear? No. It was probably something like a raccoon or something small. It was walking. It was walking slowly. And then we had 2 campers come by this morning, loud as anything, man. It was like 6 o'clock. I wasn't asleep anyway. What the frick? Shouldn't be complaining. No, there was 2 guys from the other campsite that walked by. They were just talking like nothing. It was like 5:30 in the morning, 6 o'clock. All right, sorry about that. So what I do is I fill this up with halfway with some fuel, which is that heat, the yellow heat in the bottle, and light it on fire, and then eventually these ports, which are on the other side of the inner wall, the fuel will evaporate and burn through these ports. And I'll put the pot on top of that. It will extinguish the top or the middle, which would burn fuel faster, so it saves your fuel. And then in 15 minutes or so, that's actually a long time. And I'm going to make some more. It should be about 4 minutes, and then it takes to boil 4 to 7 or 8 minutes or something like that, but to boil 2 cups of water. And then I'll add it to that bag, Mountain House beef stew bag, and wait about 15 or 20 minutes. 8 to 9 minutes. That's fantastic. And then I'll just eat breakfast from the hammock. So I'm going to do that now. Signing off.